it is true, the trade is still scandalously stupid, but it becomes a scandal of an entirely different level if it isn't true.
See, Brittney Griner is a man. Well, come on now. This is another conspiracy situation, but you see this picture. No shirt. It's apparently an old photo.
All the exposure that you gave me, my family, to get me home. I really appreciate it. That coverage was much needed.
I think she was running that jail in Russia. She was running it.
Matt Walsh claims to have released what he says is authentic locker room footage of Brittney Griner. Footage he argues validates long-standing speculation that's surrounded her for years. It's not the previously seen topless pool clips that have made rounds online. He says this is something else entirely. Walsh insists this one reveals everything. If it turns out to be genuine, it could have career-ending consequences for Griner and pull in the WNBA, NBA, and even major political figures into a controversy they may not escape from. Walsh has been vocal about this since she was exchanged for Victor Bout, known globally as the Merchant of Death. He's questioned the entire trade since day one, and now says this video is the confirmation he's been waiting to unveil. And if he's serious, this might not be just about Griner. It's about the entire system that shielded her. As most of you know, her return was one of the most debated prisoner swaps in recent memory. She was brought back to the US before Paul Whelan, a Marine detained in Russia, and before Mark Fogel, a teacher few even knew about. Yet, the United States still exchanged her for Victor Bout, the same man responsible for fueling conflicts across the world. One clip that keeps resurfacing is the exact moment Brittney was swapped for one of the world's most notorious arms dealers, while veterans and educators remained imprisoned. This, according to Walsh, is why the logic never added up. On his show, he argued that it wasn't about international justice or negotiation. It was about preserving the WNBA's most recognizable star at any cost. Losing Griner, he claims, would have left the league without a marquee figure, and he believes that's why even the White House was willing to absorb the criticism. Take a listen to how Walsh lays it out, blasting the administration for striking a deal he says was never about fairness.
Some of us were immediately suspicious about the reasoning behind this decision. This was especially the case given the fact that other Americans like former Marine Paul Whelan, schoolteacher Mark Fogel, were left to languish in Russian labor camps while the basketball player was brought home.
And now it takes a turn. Walsh insists this latest clip is the final piece that explains why Griner was treated with kid gloves throughout the ordeal, and why officials may have been protecting more than just a high-profile athlete. Even before this new video surfaced, Walsh had been calling out the WNBA for how differently Griner was handled compared to others. You've seen it. Other athletes, even those at the top, faced harsh punishments for far less. Sha'Carri Richardson lost her Olympic shot over a marijuana violation. Serena Williams took heat just for wearing a compression suit. And WNBA players? They've been fined over minor uniform infractions. And we're not even talking about that wage protest. Remember when WNBA players got fined for wearing "pay us what you owe us" tees during warm-ups?
Let's welcome the man's official. Make your sister
But Griner? She knelt during the anthem, got the most visibility in WNBA marketing, and landed every major sponsor spotlight the league could secure. Walsh claims this wasn't just fame, it was protection. He believes the league was shielding its most important figure to keep audience numbers afloat, even as everything surrounding her stirred controversy. Now the whispers are turning into panic. Walsh says this isn't recycled clips or pixelated screen grabs. On his show, he clarified that it's not another poolside video everyone's seen already. He says it's something else, something that, in his words, erases any doubt about Griner's gender. Many of you know those rumors have been around for years, but nothing concrete ever surfaced. Walsh says this changes that. He's being vague about the content, but fans online are guessing it's anything from hidden shower footage to unseen team locker room recordings. And since he hasn't dropped it yet, people are wondering, what's he waiting for? Is it hype building or strategic timing? One TikTok user suggests this makes more sense now, pointing out that Brittney was reportedly placed in a men's prison in Russia, something the league has avoided acknowledging.
And as you may expect, it's got a lot of people asking the same question. Is that really a she? Now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense that when she was in Russia, that they decided to put her in a men's prison.
Reddit threads are blowing up, saying that if this is legit, the league can't stay silent much longer. Some believe Walsh is holding back to unleash it during the WNBA playoffs, when the damage will be unavoidable. The wildest part? The idea that Walsh holding onto the video might be the only reason the league hasn't addressed the topic. Because if this video surfaces, it stops being speculation. It becomes a public crisis, and that's where things get dangerous. Because Walsh holding this card doesn't just impact Griner, it rattles the entire WNBA. Before even diving into what this means for Griner personally, let's talk about why the league is bracing for impact. Griner is, in many ways, the WNBA's brand right now. Well, aside from Caitlin Clark, of course. The triumphant return from Russia, the official appearances, the inspirational soundbites. Every sponsorship and emotional narrative for the past 2 years has been built around her. Watch her post-return interview. She breaks down talking about hope and strength. That's the image the league has invested in.
How have you found the resilience personally to be here with us?
You know, I'm no stranger to hard times, so. See, you cried and you made me cry.
If she gets exposed now, the entire story looks manufactured, and when fans feel betrayed, they don't forget. But it's not just about feelings. If she's been playing in a women's league while possibly violating eligibility standards, lawsuits will follow fast. Players who missed bonuses, teams that lost out on titles, sponsors that funneled millions into building her image. They'll all demand answers and compensation. And when companies start pulling their money to dodge the fallout, those newly inked TV contracts, gone in a flash. But this isn't just about finances. The WNBA didn't just showcase Griner as a basketball icon, they painted her as a political beacon. Most of you recall that her return involved direct action from the White House. She became a symbol of resilience and government victory. If this blows up, the backlash won't stop with the league. Critics will accuse political leaders of helping to hide the truth. Then come congressional probes, national headlines, cultural warfare. Here's White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre during the height of the campaign to bring Griner home, speaking about how central her case had become for the administration.
Does the White House have any indication that this negotiation is foundational and or could lead to greater communication with Russia up to and including about Ukraine?
So look, this release culminated after an extraordinary amount of hard work by many people just across the U.S. government, as I just laid out early on, and our national security team, obviously. It was about securing Brittney's release, pure and simple. That's what this was about. That's what this particular action was about. As we stated numerous occasions, the U.S. government engaged with Russian government through every available channel to bring Griner and Paul Whelan home.
And we haven't even talked about what happens inside the locker room. If this footage is legit, players won't just be shocked. They'll be furious. Some lost minutes, others got cut, and a few may have even gotten injured going up against her. Watch this clip. Rookie Sonia Citron drains a 3, then immediately gets bulldozed by 6'9" Brittney Griner. Moments like that are why players could argue they were put in danger.
Put at risk. Smart, unselfish basketball by Washington. And Griner is going to get called for a foul. Citron took a heavy hit on that screen.
If it's revealed that league executives had knowledge and kept it quiet, there's no walking that back. Players would walk out. Team leaders would demand Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's resignation. The trust between players and management would collapse overnight. But that's only the start. If Walsh really has this footage, most will assume league insiders saw it first. If Kathy Engelbert or any top official buried the truth, we're not talking about bad PR. We're talking lawsuits, government inquiries, and leadership careers ruined in an instant. Because once fans feel they were misled about Brittney, every other controversy, ref favoritism, payout rumors, questionable suspensions, comes roaring back. The WNBA stops being seen as an underdog success story and starts looking like a corrupted institution. And here's a twist nobody's expecting. What if Walsh isn't just sitting on this to expose Griner, but to gain power? That might explain why he hasn't released it yet. Think about it. If he drops it now, everything burns. But if he holds it, he becomes the league's biggest threat behind the scenes. It's possible Walsh is pressuring them privately. If he knows this video is their worst nightmare, he could be using it as leverage, getting insider info, special access, or even dirt on other issues just to keep the footage under wraps. Why detonate a nuke when you can control the fallout? Just watch this clip. Walsh flat out calls the Griner exchange a terrible trade, saying others had been imprisoned longer and were more deserving. That's why fans believe he's baiting the league, holding the card for maximum impact.